Welcome to Helping Hands with your hosts, John Neiman and Judy Ritchie.
Hello and welcome to Helping Hands. This is our opportunity to let you and the community know how you can lend a helping hand to an agency or program in need. I'm Judy Ritchie with Oshkosh Family Meals on Wheels.
And I'm John Neiman with Aurora Medical Center, and welcome to our January 2016 show. We're so glad that you could be with us. We're glad that we're here. We got all shoveled out and we made it to the studio to tape this wonderful show for the new year. We'd like to begin by thanking our sponsor, which is Aurora Healthcare, which helps us put on this wonderful show, as Judy said, who spotlights volunteer opportunities in our community, and also our winter set design by Harnix Floral and Gifts on 9th. Where can you see us and where can you listen to us? We're on the radio at 101.9 FM. We're also on Time Warner on CATV2. Also, go to www.oshkoshcommunitymedia.org to find out about all the wonderful shows that take place on CATV2. Judy, who is our special guest for the first show of 2016?
She's a young lady who reminded us that she has been on before.
And we're so old that we
forgot.
We forgot.
Yeah. So, our apologies to
all right.
And this is Abby Sylvia. She is Assistant Director of Residence Life at UWO. So welcome.
Welcome. Thanks
Thank you for
having
being
me.
here. And I want to say that one thing I think in our world today is we don't have enough good news of what the youth are doing. Mm-hmm. And I have to say my experience with UWO from the beginning has always been good. We've been involved with Citizenship Days since the beginning. Mm-hmm. We get the neatest group of kids that come to us in August. And they're just wonderful. They help out, and then they come back and volunteer. And so I was telling Judy, I think this is just a chance for us to put the spotlight on UWO and Citizenship Days and everything that you do for the university.
Wonderful. I'm glad that you guys have enjoyed Citizenship Day so much. It's one of our, it's our kickoff really for the year for volunteerism in our residence halls. So
and they're so eager to work, and they will do. It's not like we're slave drivers, but they will do anything. They want to get involved. They want to learn about our hospital, what we do in the community, so they can bring it back. And enthusiasm is just wonderful.
It is, and I get a kick out of it. And we don't use them as much with our programs simply because of the time element of when the students are available versus when our need is. Right. But you get the students in working on a project, and we're used to maybe a little bit older volunteers, and the social part is a very important piece of it, and they get their work done. But you get these youth in, and you think you've got enough for 2 hours, and they've got it done in 45 minutes. And then you're wondering, what can we have them do next?
Exactly, because we plan things out and we organize, and then they come back and say, we're done. It's amazing.
And you don't want to send them out the door,
right?
But, and then you look for other things. And from that, you take the time to sit with them and listen, and what do they really like to do? And then the wheels start turning. How can we have that fit to our mission, to what we're doing? So it's a really good learning experience on both sides.
Absolutely.
So, and when we talk about the community engagement and Citizenship Day, what are the expectations that you have of those youth coming out?
Yeah, let me start by saying we have a citizenship program in the residence halls that really starts off with Citizenship Day at the beginning of the year, where we get our staff excited about volunteering and get them seeing how good you feel when you do it. When they see how easy it is for us to find things for them to do in the community, then they get their residents engaged in the program. So I lost my train of thought. So yeah, they do all sorts of projects in the community. We volunteer all over the place, with whether it's Salvation Army or Beaming Inc., lots of different places in the community.
So, and for our audience, because it's hard to understand some of this until your kids go to school, and then you realize it. So, Can you explain what an RA is?
Okay. Yep, we have community advisors, so
As-
CAs. So they
CAs.
live on the floor. They're there to help students get engaged in the community, usually first on a very small level within the hall, getting to know each other on your floor and then within your hall. And then we try to get them out in the community a little bit, whether it's volunteering or even our community engagement, community development specialist, which is a student position who she works, her name's Anna Schilker this year. She works with setting up those partnerships with the agency. She also works with getting them involved in just things happening in the community. For example, she worked on a project this year to take a group to the Paint Art Center for the Nutcracker in the Castle. So there's, it's all about getting connected to the community, and CAs play a huge part in that.
And you realize too that when you send your child off to college, whether they're from Oshkosh, because my feeling is people who live in the city never really experience what's in the city.
Right.
There are people that have never been to the Public Museum who live in Oshkosh or the Paint Art Center or EAA
Yes.
until they're here. So what you guys do on the university level is try to engage those people in their community so they can become part of it.
Absolutely. I mean, if you feel part of the community, you have a sense of belonging and you feel more comfortable, whether it's being part of UWO, but the Oshkosh community as well. So the CAs have a very important role in that.
So do the students who live in the dorms, do they have to volunteer a certain amount?
Not as part of living in the residence halls.
Okay.
There are definitely other, we're one part of the campus, right? So community engagement is important in the entire campus. We're one piece of it. Through, the Quest program, which is their general studies program, university studies program, they do have a volunteer component as part of their academic piece as well. But in terms of living in the halls, it's not a requirement.
Okay.
We certainly hope they get engaged, and they do in a lot of ways, whether it's sometimes it's a one-time thing that they come down to the lobby when we're having an event where you're making tray favors for Meals on Wheels, or maybe they go that one time to Salvation Army to serve a meal. Maybe by doing that, though, some of them might get more connected and say, I want to keep doing that. So maybe they'll go more regularly on their own, not necessarily through us.
And a lot of the students that are in the resident halls, especially as freshmen, don't have cars.
Right.
So they have to find things that will keep them on campus or that are easily, using the bus or whatever to get to their activity.
Yes, and we try very hard when we develop those partnerships, which each hall is partnered with an agency, to have them be places that are in close proximity to campus, whether it's walking or on the bus route. We have some that aren't. We make that work, but ideally when they're close, it makes it easier, right? If they don't have to go very far,
Right.
they're more inclined to do it.
Which is why Salvation Army, the Warming Shelter, Christine
Ann.
Ann, they're all very much closer.
Yep.
Where our program, they have to have a car unless they're doing, as we said, the tray favors and things,
Yep.
which our folks absolutely love getting.
Yep.
So that always helps.
But you also can tell the kids that have a passion for something because when we go to UWO for the volunteer fair in the spring and the fall, that is one question that they will ask is, where are you located and how can I get there? Are you on the bus route? And I always admire those freshmen and sophomores who take the bus to come and volunteer because they really want to give back. It's not like they're doing it because they have to. They want to learn more and give back, or maybe it has to do with their major, nursing or something like that. But it's something that we don't think about as we're planning this stuff, is that a lot of people don't have cars or they're not allowed to have cars.
Right.
And so we have to think of things for them to do also.
And we're talking UWO, but I'll just throw a little bit in. I have a granddaughter that's going to the University of Miami, Ohio. And as a grandmother, I was a little bit worried because it's a huge campus and a small community. And, how was she going to function and all this stuff? One of the first things she got involved in, and it was through her dorm, was the photography club. And from that, one of the local clubs, community clubs otherwise, needed to have some photos taken for an advertising piece. Well, the club on campus was going to get paid to do that, but the students didn't get paid directly. It went to the club coffers for more equipment. Gabby absolutely loved it, and she has such a passion for it. And it's a perfect fit.
Yep.
And that's what I think we as agencies try to do, is look for things that will really work to the students' passions.
So do you want to talk to us about the CAP program and how it works, and how do you partner with the agencies and what happens?
Right. Well, starting in the summer, our CDS, our Community Development Specialist, kind of puts a call out to agencies in Oshkosh saying, we have the Citizenship Day, and we'd love for, to see if your agency is interested in participating. But 2, are you interested in a year-long partnership with a residence hall? The idea is that, in the past, and I started here 13 years ago, before we had CAP, we always had that expectation of volunteerism, but I think it was really daunting for the students when they didn't know somebody at an agency to how do I figure out how to make a project happen or whatever. Having that partnership has made it easier. They have a contact. They have somebody they know that they can call and say, hey, John, what does Aurora have going on this month? I'd really like to do something. So that's why we started it, so that it's a little bit easier for them to stay connected. We really hope that the partners will communicate with the hall on a monthly basis, even if it's to say we don't have anything this month, but here's some stuff we have coming up later. Our expectation is that our hall staff do at least one service event with their agency during the semester.
Okay.
So, and like I said, some of them are more one-time things. We've had agencies do, be part of like a 5K race in Oshkosh, that benefits their agency, and we'll have our students come and help volunteer at that. Others are a little bit more regular. I go back to Salvation Army. We have a group that's going, a couple times a month to serve a meal there. So it really kind of varies, but I think it's about getting connected to one place so that they can maybe get more excited about volunteering, have that connection.
Right. And that's one thing that I look at the restrictions that we have, because we have to do the background check,
Right.
we have to do the orientation, where you have other institutions in town where they can just take them in as a group, and they can do this. And I always feel bad. I try to think of creative ways that we can bring them in, because you
Right.
really want them to experience
Insight, yeah.
what's going on and how we're different and how we do things. So, but it's a learning process along the board too. And I think, I just think how enthusiastic the people are. Now, you told us about a project, a partnership that was going on that was unique. Can you talk about
It's
that?
the first time I've seen a group do this. Like I said, I've been at UWO for 13 years. We have a hall that's partnered with Beaming Incorporated. They do equine therapy with folks that have different medical conditions. They are doing a cookbook fundraiser. They compiled recipes. I believe it's called Pumpkin Spice and All That's Nice cookbook, and they're selling them. And they did a really nice job. They have a staff member on that hall that is a graphic design major. She put it together, and they're selling them with the hopes to raise a lot of money for Beaming, which I think is great. So
and that is
it's
a
totally
unique
different.
project.
Right.
That, that besides what we always say, the tray favors and all that, that
Right.
really is a unique way of using people's talents. And then the
Absolutely.
kids can go home and ask their parents or their grandma for her favorite recipe and all of that. I can't wait.
And that graphic designer has that to go on her resume.
Win-win, right?
Right.
Exactly.
Everybody gains from that. So wonderful.
But what other types of activities are going on this year?
Well, we've had several groups work with different nursing homes in town to do, they've had big events. Last year, at the end of the year, we had a senior prom at Gabriel's Villa, which was a huge event for us. But they do more, everyday things like going to play card games or helping with nail care, things like that at Gabriel's Villa. I know we have a group going to Evergreen, or they're planning to go to Evergreen to do, root beer floats, ice cream kind of a thing, just to socialize with the residents. I'm trying to think of other ones.
So how many agencies do you have partnered then with the halls?
We have
And feel
one with
free to
each.
name
We've got Salvation Army with North Scott, Clarity Care with South Scott, Evergreen is with South Gernhagen, Aurora is with Evans Hall, Habitat for Humanity is with Fletcher, Meals on Wheels with Stewart Hall, Gabriel's Villa is with Donner and Webster, Beaming Inc. is with Horizon Village, and then Christinian Center is with Taylor Hall.
So is that every hall represented then?
Every hall is represented. So
That is really
and
cool.
some of those are long-term partnerships at multiple years. Clarity Care and South Scott have been together for a number of years. They've had lots of activities where they bring residents to our campus to do craft days and things like that. And then they've even gone to volunteer at the thrift and gift store in Winneconne to help out there. So there's a lot of different things. Whether it's making tray favors to actually going to the agency, we kind of have a little bit of everything.
Now, in in our December show, we talked about one thing that we see missing, and that's caroling.
Yeah.
You know, and we talked about that it used to be when us older people were growing up, that people would even just walk the streets and carol in their neighborhood, and that's something too, with all the access and the enthusiasm that the youth have, that would be a great project for someone to do too, because anyone can, I mean, there's so many places you can go to carol, even just to stand outside somewhere and just carol. I just think that would be a cool thing to do, to keep in mind. One year our group did it for Easter.
Oh,
because everybody always does it at Christmas, so they did it for Easter, and it was just a nice surprise.
One of my neighbors was saying that one of her church groups just did it for Halloween.
Oh, fun.
Taking all the Christmas carols, the tunes, and adapting them to Halloween.
And there's creativity right there.
Yes.
Because I'm still on the cookbook. That is a great. I love these ideas.
Huge,
And
it's different.
Because when they contacted me too, and I had to think about what can we do, and I want to think outside the box.
Right.
Too, and I want them to know that we're involved in the community. That's one of the biggest things. I don't want them to think, oh, we're just doing something for Aurora, but we're all giving back to the community. So I know that we are going to do something again with the warming shelter as part of it, with hot chocolate and the cups that we do, because we want people to know that all of us are working together to do it.
Absolutely.
And that's just it. It's everybody working together. One person can make a difference, but you put a whole bunch together and you can make a big difference.
So do you find that the residents in the halls then are then going on to volunteer in places for their major to get experience that way?
Definitely. One thing I wanted to go back and say is, I do part of orientation in the fall, and one of the things we do when they come for the summer to register for classes, we ask them what they took part in high school. Stand up if you did X, Y, Z in high school, and I will tell you that volunteering is the one that gets the most people standing up every time and cheering and things like that. And I think part of it is because it is becoming more common as part of high school. You have some requirements and things, but I do think that a lot more students are seeking out opportunities to get involved. Whether, if I'm an education major, I might go volunteer at a school as a peer mentor. Or, if I'm at a nursing major, I'll go volunteer at a nursing home, things like that. Definitely students are seeking those opportunities out.
And I know that we've talked about this at our group in town called AVA, which is Alliance of Volunteer Agencies, about forced volunteering. I was not a fan of it in the beginning, like at some of the high schools now, in order for the kids to go to homecoming or prom, they have to make up their detentions in order to do it. And I don't like the idea that you're forcing someone to volunteer. But for some of these people, they never would get in and volunteer. And one of the teen volunteers I had was still with me then afterwards, because he really enjoyed the assignment that he had. So I think it's if you present it the right way, instead of I remember back to my college days, people would put off that paper till the night before. Sometimes people put off the volunteering if it's required till the night before. But I think it's about how it's presented. And when I think back to Citizenship Day, when they come, and we've had groups come where they all wore matching outfits, they painted their bib overalls, they did all this because they wanted to be part of a cohesive group. And the people that they were working with were so impressed by them. And we got to listen to their stories. I loved it because it was a chance to find out who they are and why they're here and what they're doing. So we appreciate everything that UWO does. A question though is, how did you get involved? You've been there 13 years.
How did you choose this particular position?
Oh, wow. Well, I started as a hall director at UW Oshkosh. I was in Breeze Hall, which is no longer there. Horizon Village took over that space. But, I was partnered, or not actually partnered, but we had done Citizenship Day with Big Brothers, Big Sisters of Oshkosh, and actually kind of had almost a little mini CAP partnership there. It just kind of evolved that we did a lot of things with them. And then through time, my position kind of changed through the years, and I ended up in this role where I work with citizenship, and I've always enjoyed it. That was one of my favorite things when I was a hall director. We have an end of the year award kind of banquet, and Hall of the Year was always the big one to get, and I said, I want to be Citizenship Hall of the Year. That was my goal. If we could win that was always exciting to me because it meant that we did something for Oshkosh. So.
And as we sit here and look at you too, we look at you like you are in college. I mean,
no, God bless you, John.
Yes, I know. It's like I'm going. Oh my gosh, I mean, this gray bounces off our hair and looks really nice, but you could be in college. So, and we can tell. We always can tell with our guests as they're talking. the enthusiasm they have for it. You have a sparkle in your eye when you're talking about volunteering.
Love it.
So we're excited that you could be a guest on our show, especially to kick off January show. Can you want to give your number? I know they had it on the screen,
Yeah.
but for our radio audience, how they can get a hold of you?
If you need to get a hold of me, if you're interested in potentially being a partner in the future, or if you have volunteer projects that one-time things you want college students to help out with, call at 920-424-3212.
So
or
really, and
0408.
they want to do so much in our community. We really want them to give back and have a great experience. And I think we both can say the experiences that we've had with
Very good.
with them
Very good.
has really been wonderful. So we appreciate you being here and on our show. It was great. We thank you very much for being here. And stay tuned,
Right.
and we'll be back for our second segment of Helping Hands.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
If you have expired or unused medication, don't flush it, pour it down the drain, or toss it in the trash. Safely dispose of unwanted or expired medications at the drug drop box located inside the Oshkosh Police Department. It's convenient and anonymous, safe and secure, and it's open to everyone 24/7. Drop off your prescriptions, over-the-counter drugs, pet meds, and more. Keep drugs out of the reach of children and out of our water supply. Dispose of unwanted or expired medications at the drug drop box. For more information, visit the Oshkosh Police Department website at oshkoshpd.com.
Wisconsin is losing our World War II veterans. If you were a World War II veteran, or you know one who hasn't gone on an honor flight to D.C., please help us. The Wisconsin Broadcasters Association is partnering with all Wisconsin Honor Flight hubs to make sure every eligible vet remaining who served their country so selflessly gets the chance to go. It's time for them to see their memorial. It's time for their flight. To learn more or to make a donation, go to wisconsinhonorflight.org.
Welcome back to our second segment of our January 2016 edition of Helping Hands. I'm John Neiman with Aurora Medical Center.
And Judy Ritchie with Oshkosh Family Meals on Wheels. And as we talk about January and the cold, and we've talked snow shoveling and things, but you've got a daughter and son-in-law that are teachers. I have grandkids in school, and for the kids that are less fortunate, we had the backpack program back in August. We are now midway through the school year, and a lot of those supplies have been used up. So this is a perfect time to go out and do a little bit of shopping, pick up some notebooks, pick up pencils, markers, all sorts of things, and donate them over at the Teacher's Closet at Peace Lutheran Church, because the teachers of our school district, or Amro or Winneconne, can come in and pick up supplies to be used for their classroom or for their students at no charge. And perfect way of getting the new year started right.
Exactly, and I think some people may keep their Christmas tree up through Epiphany, some people take it down. It's a chance on the breaks to clean. You find your school supplies, and if you can't get them to, because I've had this before, if you can't get them to Peace on the Teacher's Closet, drop them off at Aurora for me
or with Meals on Wheels, and we'll see that they get there.
And we've gotten a variety of things, like you said, folders, pens, pencils, notebooks, things for the classroom, anything that a teacher could use. Also supplies, Kleenexes, things like that, because
Sanitizers.
Yeah.
Flu season, sanitizers.
Exactly.
And businesses, as maybe they've had a name change, and so they're having to change all their stationery and everything else. Don't just put that stuff in the landfill. It can be, a lot of it can be recycled through the teacher's closet. They flip the paper over and they can use the back side of it.
Right.
The folders, it doesn't make any difference. They're holding papers. So things like that are really, really important. And to be able to do that. Again, the hats, the scarves, the mittens, even jackets, because kids outgrow them.
Right.
What they started with early in the season maybe now don't work, or they've broken the zipper and it can't be repaired easily.
That's
Those-
what
those
we
are
did
important.
find out. We always do a hat, mitten, scarf tree at Aurora, and we don't give it to the schools till like the middle or end of January, which they always said was perfect because by then some of the students already lost their hats, mittens, and scarves that they got for Christmas, and they like to have those there. And I tell you, people love to give, but we give them to any school, and I tell you, we'll call the school, they'll be there that day to come pick up the item. So that's a perfect thing to do. Maybe grandma knit you another scarf or another hat that you're not too fond of. Donate it back to someone.
Absolutely.
Recycle, regift. Also, we've been blessed with food from Thanksgiving through Christmas, through New Year's. Think about the food pantries in our town.
And right after the holidays, people kind of forget about giving there. And again, that's really important. One of the neat things is this buy one, get one free. Buy one for your family, take that free one and donate it.
And sometimes I will hear people in the store say, I don't need another one. Yes, you do, because like you said, you can donate it back to other organizations. So on the screen for our audience, it talks about using your time and your talents with fleece blankets, cards, tray favors, anything to give back, especially because we know how long the winter months can seem and can be, and you have your kids and you're all cooped up in the house. There's so many different things you can do, and if you're looking for ideas to do, please feel free to call Judy or myself. Our number's at the end of the screen. We'll be glad to share you with ideas or with organizations that really could use your help. I'm also thinking about places, maybe you've had some Christmas gifts that you want to re-gift. Why not try Job's Closet or St. Vinny's or Goodwill, because they're training people in our community, or like Job's Closet sponsors a food pantry, and that's what they do with their money. So if you got that little gift that maybe you got 4 ties for Christmas and you only want one, donate the other ones somewhere else in our community.
Absolutely. And as we talk about things, it's not only the donating that way, but the snow shoveling, the checking on your neighbor, as Judy Britton last month talked about, just visiting with someone. I've got living in an apartment building, and the people with the walkers, and they don't go out as much over winter because they're afraid of slipping and falling.
Right.
They don't want to break a hip. So having that visit, you don't even need to take a tray of cookies in. Just come over for a little bit and let's have a cup of coffee or a cup of tea.
Right. So
and
be a
chat
neighbor.
for a bit.
Be a neighbor in our
Be a friend.
wonderful community. So we're so glad that you could be with us for our first show of 2016. It's hard for me to say that. It's hard to write that on a check. But 2016, we're glad that you could be with us. We hope you can turn in again for the rest of our shows for the rest of this year. I'm John Neiman with Aurora Medical Center.
Judy Ritchie with Oshkosh Family Meals on Wheels.
Have a great day.